We are live in 3, 2, 1.
We wanted to create something that would help students. Utah Valley University students create a website to help students sell housing contracts.
Global stock markets rebounded from record-setting declines.
Don't panic. There's really no need to get all upset, to get worried.
A man with the COVID-19 attends a BYU basketball game. Welcome to Newsline. It's Tuesday, March 10th, 2020. I'm Sierra Phipps.
And I'm Emma Benson. The COVID-19 patient attended the BYU Gonzaga basketball game at the Marriott Center on February 22nd, but the Utah Department of Health says that this does not represent a new case for the state of Utah.
Newsline reporter Bon Lee will show us what the health department says about the issue.
BYU released a statement today saying that the COVID-19 patient attended the basketball game on February 22nd.
The person who went to the game is the COVID-19 patient from Davis County. Health officials say he had only mild symptoms and the risk of transmission to others at the game was low.
If people were at this basketball game February 22nd, don't panic. There's really no need to get all upset, to get worried.
Reports from Korea and China confirm cases where people got infected by COVID-19 carriers within minutes of coming in contact with them. However, the Utah County Health Department Public Information Officer Aislinn Tolman-Hill says that health officials in Utah are only concerned about those who sat within a 6-foot radius of the COVID-19 patient for prolonged amounts of time.
If you have not been contacted by the health department, you do not fall into that risk level. So really, you should be okay.
News of a COVID-19 patient at the BYU game shocked many people in Provo. BYU student Aubrey John says she would have never expected the excitement from the game to turn into fear of being infected by a COVID-19 patient.
I was with my friends waiting in line. We were all excited to see the game, and it was a fun night. I had no idea that someone with the coronavirus would be there.
The Utah County health officials are working closely with BYU to follow the CDC guidelines. Tolman-Hill says that the Marriott Center sanitized high-touch surfaces to reduce another risk of students and faculty members being contaminated by the virus.
If you feel under the weather, make sure to wear a mask and wash your hands thoroughly. I'm Bon Lee reporting for Newsline. Back to you.
Thanks, Bon.
The Utah Department of Health has announced the second case of the coronavirus in the state. The patient is older than 60 years old and is in serious but stable conditions at the Intermountain McKay Hospital. The man travels often, and medical professionals predict that the man got the virus while traveling. Medical professionals are working on contacting those he traveled by to see if they also had the virus. A Utah man that has returned home after being quarantined for the coronavirus has just released another video.
Not as bad as you might imagine it to be, and live in the moment and take it one day at a time.
Mark Jorgensen and his wife Jerry were traveling on a cruise ship in Japan when they tested positive for the coronavirus. Mark was quarantined at the Murray Intermountain Healthcare Hospital and has since been able to return home. Mark has been using social media as a way to contact his family and provide updates on his status with the coronavirus.
Even if you get it, you'll be okay.
Now Mark and his wife Jerry are home but are still expected to be 6 feet apart. Professional medical officials have visited their home to collect more samples for testing. They are still waiting on the results from the week before.
Global stock markets rebounded today from record-setting declines after U.S. President Donald Trump said he would ask Congress for a tax cut and other measures to ease the pain of the spreading coronavirus outbreak. Wall Street is expected to recover somewhat from its largest daily drop in 12 years, and oil prices also recovered some of their losses, as well as stocks in Europe and Asia. Monday's global sell-off reflected alarm over economic damage from the coronavirus that emerged in China in December. The drop in U.S. stock prices was so sharp that it triggered Wall Street's first trading halt in more than 2 decades. Chinese President Xi Jinping visited the city of Wuhan for the first time since the coronavirus outbreak. His visit shows that life in China may be slowly returning to normal after months of extreme quarantine. In other countries like Italy, the lockdowns are just beginning. More than 9,000 people were infected in Italy and 463 have died. The Italian government has responded by extending travel restrictions to the entire country.
Forget food. If you're preparing to be quarantined for 2 weeks, you need to make sure you have an ample supply of toilet paper. Alessandra Harris joins us now with the raging need of TP. Alessandra?
With threat of the coronavirus looming, there has been a massive rush for the most important commodity, toilet paper. This video from Australia shows hundreds of customers rushing to the shelves to pack up toilet paper. It currently has hundreds of thousands of views on social media and has set a trend of frantic citizens from all countries stockpiling the beloved paper product. Twitter is clogged with toilet paper posts. One user posted, "If the first thing you do when you panic is buy toilet paper, you suck at panicking." Another user tweeted their helpful experience saying, "One of my coworkers came in coughing, feverish, bleeding from his eyes and speaking in tongues. So naturally, I gave him a 6-pack of toilet paper and sent him home. I'm a doctor now." Here's a meme that's been going around of someone trying to read the CDC list for coronavirus and wondering how a fever, cough, and shortness of breath is cause for a toilet paper shortage. The idea that toilet paper is an absolute necessity is widespread and intense, but everyone should know that toilet paper will not prevent you from getting infected with the virus. Well, it may help you if you wrap yourself up like this. As magical as toilet paper is, it does not offer special protection against the virus, and no TP fortress is strong enough or tall enough to protect you from this infectious disease.
A security guard for the Salt Lake City Public Library has resigned after an investigation into a Twitter video that appeared to show the guard hitting a patron with a baton.
What?
In response to the video, safety officers at the library can no longer carry batons, and the library has done a review of its safety measures, including several rounds of de-escalation training. With the daylight saving change, the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources is encouraging people to be more cautious on their morning commute. DWR advises drivers to be especially alert at dawn and dusk, pay attention to crossing signs, and not to drive distracted. If an animal is near the road, do not swerve, but slow down and stay in your lane. If you have a collision with wildlife, pull off the road, do not approach the injured animal, and contact the local police department.
A group of BYU alumni raised over $35,000 in 5 days to help LGBTQ students to transfer to other schools. The fundraiser started in response to the latest statement made by the BYU administration that homosexual behavior does not align with the spirit of the Honor Code. The GoFundMe page states that the funds will be used to subsidize costs of transferring schools for students who no longer feel safe attending BYU. According to a study by Wallet Hub, Provo is in the top 9% of cities with the largest credit card debt paydown. Provo averaged $12,000 of credit card debt per household. That totals to an outstanding debt of almost $400 million. Last year, Provo consumers paid off more than $33 million. Roy, Springvale, and St. George also were at the top of the list.
The Senate has approved a bill that requires a warning label to be put on pornography. The bill states that if a person distributes pornography for profit without a warning label, they could be sued up to $2,500. HB 243 will now go to the governor for a final say. A Utah abortion bill is moving to the chamber floor. The legislation says that if a woman terminates a pregnancy from home, it could result in a second-degree felony. The bill also states if a doctor performs an unlawful abortion, they may be penalized. Utah lawmakers are now taking more serious precautions against the coronavirus. First, they created a no handshake zone. Now, Utah legislators are making a last-minute bill to allow lawmakers to meet remotely. This bill is being made right before the end of the 45-day session on Thursday.
Utah Valley University students create a website to help share their partial housing contracts. Sierra Isasaga tells us how they came up with the idea.
Buying and selling contracts can be a problem at almost any college, but that problem might be solved now with Bid My Crib,
the website students go to sell the contracts they're trying to get out of.
And then personally, I was actually stuck in a contract that I had to sell, and so that's what initially sparked the idea. And we found that there were just hundreds, if not thousands, of students that are stuck in these 12-month contracts, and there's no website or way for them to post them for sale.
Alessandra and her brother Nick launched Bid My Crib online in October. Since then, thousands of visitors have clicked through it, and hundreds have posted trying to get out of the contracts they don't want to be in. The website is already active in 4 states, including Utah, Idaho, Texas, and Arizona.
We wanted to create something that would help students, and student housing was #1 on the list.
Last semester I was stuck in my contract and I was having a really hard time selling it, and then I found the website Bid My Crib and I was able to sell my contract really fast.
Let's get an inside look on how Bid My Crib works.
Okay, so here's our home page. So just in the top right corner here, you can add your listing, but we'll go up here and pretend we're looking for somewhere. So this will just show what's closest to us. But hence the name Bid My Crib. We want students to be able to negotiate for their rent to get a good deal.
Bid My Crib plans to continue expanding and hopes to one day be a household name in every college town. Reporting for NewsLine, I'm Sierra Sasaga.
Thanks, Sierra.
A Colorado poll shows people in Utah are concerned about the environment. How many Utahns believe that smog is becoming a serious problem?
You can bring one of these furry friends on your next hike. Find out where you can go to rent one.
I'm counting on you in a big way. On Tuesday, let's win here in Michigan.
Michigan draws attention on Super Tuesday 2. Who has the comfy lead and how many delegates are needed to secure the nomination?
Where's Tommy?
I thought he was with you.
No.
Jack.
Tommy?
Go get him.
Don't stop. Keep playing. Here we go. Here's the fun part.
Did you do this?
Great job.
Encouragement. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
It's been 1 week since Super Tuesday, and there are more primary elections happening today across the country. John Lawrence reports.
Voters in 6 states head to the polls on Super Tuesday too, but one state is drawing extra attention.
Michigan, I'm counting on you in a big way. On Tuesday, let's win here in Michigan.
The Wolverine State, more specifically its 125 pledged delegates, plays a pivotal role in the race Tuesday. Here's why. Former Vice President Joe Biden's decisive win in South Carolina last month basically kept his presidential hopes alive. And now on Super Tuesday 2, Senator Bernie Sanders pretty much needs to pull a Biden in Michigan, a state Sanders narrowly won in 2016.
Does anybody really think that that is going to be the campaign of excitement and energy that's going to grow the base that we need to defeat Trump? I don't think so. I say that honestly as a friend of Joe's.
Biden, who just got endorsements from 2 former candidates, Senators Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, has a comfy lead in Michigan, according to the latest Monmouth University poll.
You want a nominee who's going to beat Donald Trump, keep the House of Representatives, win back the United States Senate, join us.
As of Tuesday morning, fewer than 100 delegates separate Biden and Sanders, with California numbers still in flux. 1,991 delegates are needed to secure the nomination. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
A new poll by Colorado College indicates that people in Utah have more concern about air pollution than any other state. NewsLine reporter Ashley Pasley tells us about these numbers. Ashley, how many Utahns are concerned about the air pollution here?
Yeah, Sierra, so 95% of Utahns surveyed believe that smog is becoming a serious problem.
We just have really bad air here in Utah, and I bike a lot for commuting, and I feel it in my lungs, in my head, every day, and I'd like it to not be that way.
The State of the Rockies poll done by Colorado College provides an in-depth look at Mountain West opinions on issues like climate change, water, and air pollution. The poll shows that Utahns have a lot of anxiety about environmental issues.
I'm concerned that if things continue to go the way they are, that the Earth will be a much different place for my children and my grandchildren.
I'm concerned about the pollution problem in Utah Valley because, you know, it can have negative impacts on all of our health and can negatively affect, you know, our lung health and also the length of our lives.
Along with the quality of the air, 66% of people surveyed think water supplies become less predictable every year.
Personally, I think the state of the environment actually affects my dating life here at BYU because I'd like to do more dates at Utah Lake in particular, but with the pollution and with the fact that it's toxic, it's not really somewhere that I could go.
People questioned in the poll feel the state of Utah and Utah residents need to take more action to help protect the environment.
I think we can take some vital steps to, even in our day, help out in the cause.
I think people should be better about helping the environment. Even just doing little things can help.
So take a step back and think of ways that you can protect the environment. Reporting for NewsLine, I'm Ashley Pasley.
Thanks, Ashley.
Are you looking to rent a llama for your next hike? NewsLine reporter Lauren Crowdy tells you where you can find one.
Here we are at Krishna Temple, Utah Valley's llama farm.
When Vi Warden and her husband first came to Utah, there were few llamas, something they knew they wanted to change.
We got hold of a couple of llamas to help us go hiking. Everybody wanted llamas. We ended up breeding llamas, and it became a business, and a fun business too, because everybody loves llamas.
Warden offers tours of their llama farm, where visitors can feed, brush, pet, and walk these well-trained llamas.
This is the daddy. He's one of the best llamas in America, this guy. Very gentle and calm, very strong.
Visitors can also volunteer at the farm and help train and maintain the llamas, including teaching the llamas how to hike.
A lot of people come just to see them. People come, they bring carrots and apples sliced up and feed the llamas.
People can rent the llamas for pack trips, hikes, weddings, parties, and more.
That's so cute. You can rent your own llamas at UtahValleyLlamas.com. Reporting for NewsLine in Spanish Fork, I'm Lauren Crowdy.
Thanks, Lauren.
Take a look at this live footage from the Park City Ski Resort. Spring skiers will be pleased to know that for the next few days, conditions will be similar to what we see here, sunshine and blue skies. But if you're worried about snow quality, don't fret. Chances of snow are expected for the weekend, so take in the sun while you can. Here we have our weather radar for today. In northern Utah, we don't see much precipitation, but in southern Utah, we have chances of rain going out throughout the day. For our highs and lows of today, we see in Logan we have a high of 46, Salt Lake City and Provo a high of 57, and going down to St. George we have a high of 65. For our lows in Logan, northern Utah, we have a low of 30, Salt Lake City and Provo 39, and St. George a low of 50. For our 5-day forecast in southern Utah, we will be seeing some rain tomorrow, some more rain tomorrow. It'll clear up on Thursday, but then chances of rain will increase again on Friday and Saturday with partly sunny skies on Sunday. Our highs will stay in the mid-60s, even bumping up to 70 on Thursday, and then dropping back down with lows staying in the mid-40s and high 40s. For our 5-day forecast in northern Utah, we're going to see partly sunny skies and sunny skies till Friday, and then we're going to have a weather system come in that's going to give us chances of rain and snow in more northern areas, with our highs staying in the 60s and then dropping down to the higher 50s, and on Sunday dropping all the way down to the low 50s, with our lows in northern Utah staying in the 40s and in the mid-30s. So, if you're in northern Utah, look forward to sunny skies until the weekend, and if you're in southern Utah, don't worry, the rain will go away.
I am honestly so excited. It's finally warming up. I'm not a huge fan of the snow, so I'm super excited for the warm weather this week. The rain I'm okay with. So, yeah.
Me too. It's starting to feel really good outside. Looks nice too.
It really is. 50s and 60s are really good news. What's bad news though? BYU basketball. For the Cougar fans, a loss last night in Las Vegas. I'm going to break down the game and give you a look at what's to come for this basketball squad. Also, BYU volleyball achieved something for the first time in 4 years. I'll tell you what they did coming up. BYU men's basketball fell to St. Mary's last night in the WCC semifinals, and just like their first two matchups this season, the game came down to a nail-biting finish.
Jordan Ford for the win. Got it! 1.4 seconds to go.
St. Mary's star Jordan Ford sent BYU packing with that clutch 15-footer and now takes on Gonzaga tonight in the WCC final. BYU struggled last night on the offensive side of the ball. For the season, the Cougars shoot over 50% from the field, the third best in the country. However, last night, BYU shot just 36.2%. At the free throw line, the typical 70% free throw shooting team shot just 60%, add 15 turnovers to the mix in an 8-minute scoreless drought in the second half, and the Cougars take their first loss since January 25th. Following the loss last night, BYU drops to number 19 in the country. Next stop for the Cougars is the NCAA tournament, and head coach Mark Pope has high hopes for what's to come.
Springboard us to doing something special that these guys have been dreaming their whole lives about doing. So that's the story we have to write. It's the only story left for us, so we have to write it.
Selections and seeding for the NCAA tournament will be announced on Sunday on CBS. BYU is now a projected 5 seed. Despite the disappointing loss last night, there is still something to smile about as BYU senior guard TJ Haws is named to the Academic All-America third team. Haws is a 3-time WCC All-Academic honoree and a finance major with a 3.46 GPA. Haws not only gets it done in the classroom, but also on the court. He's averaging 14.3 points per game, 5.8 assists per game, the second highest in the WCC, 1.4 steals per game while shooting over 47% from the field. Haws's final games as a Cougar take place in the NCAA tournament, which begins March 19th. Following a successful weekend in Hawaii, BYU men's volleyball moves up to number 1 in the AVCA coaches poll. BYU collected 15 of the 16 first-place votes and now sits atop the rankings for the first time since 2016. All of this after back-to-back matchups against former number 1 ranked Hawaii, where BYU swept them in the first game and followed with a competitive 5-game loss. BYU is now off to their second best start ever. 13 of those 17 wins are against top 15 teams in the country as well, not to mention 6-0 in MPSF play. Next on the schedule, the Cougars face number 14 Stanford on Friday. This is so exciting. There's a lot of things going on in sports right now for this springtime.
Yeah.
BYU basketball despite the loss last night. Nine-game winning streak. It was snapped last night. But they're going to be getting the highest seed in the NCAA tournament that they've had in probably about 10 years. So that's a really exciting thing.
Wow.
And then we've got the #1 volleyball team in the country.
So
that's super exciting.
We have
cool.
we have so
awesome.
much going on. We have so many exciting sports to be talking about and things like that. We also have the women's basketball team, which might be making the NCAA tournament as well.
Yes,
it's a very,
super
very
exciting.
exciting time to be a sports fan at BYU.
Yeah,
definitely.
That game last night was so crazy.
It was very, very
Okay,
frustrating.
I know that they've been doing really well, and I'm bummed they lost last night. But I mean, they were doing good.
It was a rough game to watch. A lot of turnovers, a lack of rebounding, a lack of presence with Colby Lee out, a lack of presence in the paint, things like that. Yoli Childs had a lot to pick up, but overall, it was a very, very difficult way to end, but I have a lot of faith in them coming into the NCAA tournament.
They've been really tough this season. They've been doing a great job. So.
Yeah, and it looks like the coach has a lot of hope about it too. Also, sometimes saying thank you isn't enough.
And we'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Sometimes saying thank you just isn't enough.
Check out this West Valley police officer who got her nails painted as a thank you from an adventurous 3-year-old. A 3-year-old girl wandered out of her house and was found by West Valley police. The girl's mother was putting her baby down to sleep and didn't notice her daughter slip out. On the way home, Officer Franco complimented the girl's nails. When the officer got to her home safely, the girl decided to paint Officer Franco's nails as a thank you. How sweet is that?
That is such a sweet story. At least she was found. I'm happy that it ended well.
Me too. Me too. Great. Well, thank you for joining us today for Newsline.
For more information or to share with your friends, check out our website at byu.edu/newsline. Have a great day. Yeah, that's